What's up, the world? It's your boy Tommy Mab. I just came in real quick to give you guys my thoughts on a few things, but more importantly, my thoughts on the whole Kenyon Martin / insane people narrative surrounding Lebron. And I've tried my best to, let people. I mean, you're allowed to have your opinion. You're allowed to say what you want. A lot of these guys are just old as, they're damn near in their 60s, running around, constantly holding on to this narrative that they believed when they were a kid, and they desperately want these people to believe it too. And right now, the vast majority of people on with podcasts are these guys, right? These 60-year-old guys who played in the early 2000s, mid 2000s to early 90s. They come out and they have a lot to say about everything, right? They're, which is normal, when Jordan was around, the guys in the set, the Will Chambers, the guys, older, younger guys, they just they didn't respect the way Jordan played. They talked about the way he played. They did not think he was the greatest of all time. It wasn't until a lot of those players died, a lot of their fans kind of got old, and then Michael Jordan just rose to prominence, and nobody really questioned it. But I think right now the problem you have with LeBron, and I think this is a problem most of these guys run into, is because LeBron has been around for so long, right? You can say LeBron got to the NBA in 2003, but LeBron has been in popular culture since maybe 2001. So you're looking at a kid that's basically had nationwide fame at least since he was 15, 16 years old. So these are guys, these are people who said, I saw this kid when he was 15 and I knew he was going to be it. I knew he was something different. I knew he was amazing. I knew, because now all these people get to stroke their ego and say, hey, I saw him before other people. So you get it's like a kindred, relationship between the two. Even though they may not be that close personally, he's attached to their upbringing, right? I think it was one of the things that made Kobe show love to a lot of people, because ever since they've been here, Kobe was a topic of discussion, from 96 to about 2001. In 2010s, that's a long time. LeBron's longer than that. So if you're a kid like me, my connection when I remember LeBron is the fact that we were the same age. I remember looking at it, thinking in my mind, like, wow, a guy who's the same age as me is playing in the NBA, and that's crazy to me. And I remember that, and that's my remembrance of it. Like, this guy's the same age as me, and he's playing in the NBA. That's kind of crazy. And he's killing it. So, and I think there's a lot of people who share that. Like, dude, I could not even imagine stepping in a locker room with these guys and being able to even have a say-so or have the confidence to even take a shot. But you got a guy who's basically running a team, and he's 18. That's crazy to me, and so that's my connection. So I always remember that connection the first time, because the funniest thing is I remember in like 2000, because people gotta understand, when Michael Jordan retired, every year it was a new, this is the next Michael Jordan. It was like Harold Miner, then Jerry Stackhouse, then, Vince Carter, then, it's like every year it was this is the new Jordan. And so you just get, it got to the point where it's like, okay, everybody, all these guys coming from high school, is he the next? And you just get to a point where it's like, no, he's not. Because there's so many flops. I mean, there's so many guys. The closest thing they had was Vince Carter. And Vince Carter just never really wanted that title. Vince was just, he's a Florida cat, and downhill, I think we're more laid back. We're not that type of intense. And I think Vince was just, he's just dude, I'm just balling. I don't need to put a label on it. I don't care about selling your papers. I don't care about selling your narratives to the people. I'm just out here to play basketball, and I think that soured from Vince very early. But Vince was, at one point, Vince was popular. AI was always the most popular player, but there were always the next Jordan. So when I initially heard of LeBron, it was kind of like, oh, okay, another guy is probably gonna flop that they're saying is gonna be the next Jordan. You know what I mean? And people don't even understand this, and it's so weird when you say this. LeBron came in and did something, and I think now when people look back at it, because there's rarely ever even the 18-year-olds who come into the league, right? I think the last one was like 2005. So LeBron was one of the last people to skip college and go directly to the NBA. And when he did it, you know what I mean? It was rare that they came in and were dominant. Like, you have players who came in and they do good, but they were not dominant. Like Tracy McGrady barely played. Like he didn't play. He barely played. Kobe Bryant barely played. Like, and when they did play, they played bad. Kevin Garnett was better. He was tall. He was bigger, but he still wasn't dominant. He had potential. Most people would have said about KG he had potential when he was young, but he wasn't like dominating, especially not his rookie year. LeBron came in, and this was unheard of. He came in directly, like, this guy was playing high schoolers months earlier, and then came out there and was destroying 30. This just wasn't happening, and still giving you 7 and 9 and 7 and 7. Like, this guy was amazing. And when you're watching that from a standpoint of these guys, all these guys who had all been said, you're the next Jordan, this is the next Jordan, this is the next torch barrier, this is the guy, and now they all hated on him. I think it's ridiculous. You believe an 18-year-old is going to come in here and when he did it, I think it was sour grapes, because they had worked their entire existence into being what they were, and they took a lot of pride in being all-stars and this, that, and third. And now you got this 18-year-old kid who came in and is doing better than you are. And I think in their mind, it's a hard pill to swallow. So, because nobody likes to see their accomplishments, their life accomplishments, dwindle by a kid that's a quarter of your age. You know what I mean? That's 18 when you're 30. You know what I mean? It took you years to get to a point where you averaging 25. And now you got this kid coming in and he averaging 30. I mean, damn, that's 30 in his first and second year. It's like, okay, this is like okay, it's got to be something to this. LeBron was never a foul getter. He was more of a strong finisher. So LeBron, you can never throw they're giving him fouls. One, LeBron just wasn't that great of a foul shooter, especially when he first came into league. And on top of that, he didn't get fouled. He didn't go to the line a lot. So you can't. It's not like a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander or a James Harden. It was completely different, because these guys, you knew for a fact, probably wouldn't be the players that they were. Luka, these guys wouldn't be the players that they were. I saw a Cooper Flag the other day. It's something like 18 free throws. I'm like, bro, if you want to talk about a plant, here you go. That's a plant. You're trying to make a superstar instead of letting them play and see who rises to the top. You're trying to make it that way. So regardless of that, because it is very distracting. This whole narrative, right? A lot of people believe, Melo should have won Rookie of the Year, not LeBron. crazy. That's a crazy notion. If you saw some of the games LeBron played as a rookie, it's insane to believe that Melo should have won Rookie of the Year over him. Because his team made it to the playoffs. It was an insane thing to say. Nobody at the time I was around, nobody in popular culture was saying that. Oh, they were saying it was a tight race, but for the most part, LeBron had a better year because he did. LeBron had points, rebounds, assists, efficiency. LeBron had everything, and LeBron was a year younger than Melo. So the idea that Melo somehow, if it's even close, you give it to the kid that's a year younger, more efficient, plays smarter, does more than just get points, also gets rebounds and assists as well, runs an offense. You gonna give it to him over Melo, who just plays a part on a team with a bunch of veterans who do a lot of the heavy lifting. He didn't have to anchor or play no defense. He didn't have to run no offense. All he had to do was shoot the ball. So nobody is here to say that Melo was not a great player. But to make the argument that Melo and LeBron were rivals is a crazy notion, right? Kenyon Martin says, before LeBron joined the Heat, it was a discussion. No, it wasn't. LeBron had made it to 3 or 4 conference finals and 1 NBA finals by that point. Melo, I think as far as he made, it was maybe one Western Conference final. I don't even know if he made it to 1 Western Conference finals. He had a better team than LeBron. It made no sense for his situation to be the way that he was. The Denver Nuggets brought in Allen Iverson because he wanted him. Who did the Cleveland Browns bring in for LeBron? Shaq at 40. So I mean, it's like it's a ridiculous notion. The Denver Nuggets were a good team. Yes, George Karl is a prick, and I can understand why Melo didn't want him, but George Karl helped that team. He made them a good defensive team, and because they were a good defensive team, that was when they were the best. But as you can see from watching Kenyon Martin, he still is a little immature. You know what I mean? And he does not handle disappointment well. Whenever he feels somebody is pushing back or challenging him, he tends to get very, very upset and angry. And then he says things that are irrational or does things that are irrational. Because in his mind, I think he thinks that once you're mad, it's justification to do stupid stuff. And when you listen to all his stories, it's a lack of being challenged. He does not like being challenged. So, of course, Brandon Jennings has every right to say, man, that's not a rivalry. The only time they were rivals when they were rookies. After that, LeBron kind of went on a quick ascent, and nobody really remembered Melo after a year or two. Then he went to New York, and he kind of, because he was in the capital, he got a lot of the hoopla and stuff, and they realized that's a lot of style over substance. Oh, he had Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. Well, Melo had Amari Stoudemire, Jeremy Lin, who's that? Landry Fields. Who's the other guy? The guy that was killing it. What's his name? Raymond Felton, J.R. Smith, Amon Shumpert. These are half of the guys that they say made LeBron, right? He had prime J.R. Smith, mind you, even when he was in Denver, when he had J.R. Smith, Chauncey Billups, Kenyon Martin. Okay? So he had no help, right? So you give LeBron, you say LeBron left and jumped ship after finishing out his contract. LeBron didn't jump any ship. LeBron finished his contract and chose not to come back to an organization that was fine losing, as long as they continued to get the revenue and continued to get the money. So they were never going to do anything for LeBron, because they could save money on the back end by paying people nothing and continuing to try to draft players, even though LeBron was too good for them to ever get good draft picks. They thought that they could sit around and keep maneuvering and getting guys for bargain basement prices, guys at the end of their career and all this, that, and the third, stay under the salary cap, and then continue to be in the black. So They happy. They're happy. Like, dude, we can get the money. This guy's a cash cow. As long as he's there, our team is gonna get. We're gonna get TV deals. We're gonna get sponsors. We're gonna get all this stuff as long as LeBron's here. So LeBron at some point was like, bro, this ain't working for me. Y'all have Boozer. Y'all idiotically let him walk, let him out of his contract without securing a second contract. That is idiotic. Y'all had a chance to get Melo and PG-13, declined it because y'all didn't want to give up. No, they could have got, at one point, they could have got PG and, not PG, it was somebody else. But they didn't want to give up J.J. Hickson. This is an office full of incompetence. It was terrible. The guy made it to the NBA Finals when his second scoring option was Boobie Gibson. No knock on Boobie Gibson. Great three-point shooter. But he is a set shooter on most teams. He is not the second option. But LeBron was getting everything he could get out of that limit. He was squeezing everything he could get out of that limit. And then now that he's at his wit's end, he's trying to get Bosh and Dwayne Wade to come to Cleveland, and they're like, we will never go to that trash, terrible organization with that terrible owner. They're like, no, we'll go to Miami with Pat Riley. Bosh said he was gonna go. D Wade said he was gonna go. Now LeBron is gonna be in a conference with Dwayne Wade and D Bosh and Miami Heat with a whole lot of cap space to get a third superstar. The Boston Celtics with their big three. Orlando Magic, who had just beat him. All with better teams than him. And he was going to stay on the Cleveland Cavaliers and try to beat all those teams by himself with no additional superstar, no additional player. The best thing he had was Mo whatever his name is, who you saw what he was the minute LeBron left. No knock on him again, but he's squeezing a lot out of the limit. This guy would have been a sixth man anywhere else. Now he's the second scorer on your team. I'm sorry, that's not how it works. You got to get the man a substantial superstar. Who they got? Shaq. Sean. Who was the other one at the end of his career? Ain't get the man nobody. Larry Hughes, Antoine Jameson. It's like these guys are 40 years old. It's like these are the guys that he brought in, trying to get bargain basement stuff, and then trying to act like LeBron was wrong for leaving. LeBron should have stayed. Now, mind you, in the time that LeBron should have stayed, Cleveland cut like 30 people that they made promises to. Don't matter. LeBron should stay because it's always important to bow down to rich people than it is to bow down to people you're equal. Right? Rich people get away with doing things poor people never get to do. This is the only country where if you're rich, you're right. It doesn't matter what you do. Well, he got that much money. Well, that's your end goal. That's the thing you think makes a person powerful, is how much money they have. I know people can get money without being smart. There are ways to take advantage of the system in which you can rig things so where you make money and other people, where you minimize your risk, maximize your return, and put all the weight on other people. These guys hedge bets, hedge investments, so that no matter what way it cuts, they win. The entire NFL is based on hedging an investment, right? The NBA is based on the draft in general is a hedge bet, right? They don't like to take chances. So this is what they say. Well, if we had a free market, meaning these guys came out of college and got to choose, just like every other person in a business or a job, open job market would do, they would go in and say, hey, this is my resume, this is what I bring to the table. I'm applying for a job. The person will look at it and say, okay, we'll call you back and we'll see if we like what you got, and if we do, we'll send you an offer. That is how jobs is done. The NFL doesn't do that. They choose to treat it like it's a military. We're gonna draft you, meaning you, who I do not own, in order to come play for me, you must throw your name into a pot so that we can minimize our investment. Meaning if we do terrible the year before, meaning we're so bad at our job, could you imagine if the worst software company in the world had a trust with the rest of the software companies that said, if we're so terrible that we should get the smartest and most innovative and highest value applicant based on the fact that we failed the year before. Nowhere else in society is that done. They don't do it in soccer, they don't do it in baseball, but magically they do it in the two sports in which it is dominated by blacks. Odd, right? The weakest unions are the unions where the majority of the players that they represent are minorities, or black, more specifically. Isn't that odd? Well, it's like saying, oh, how dare you say that? You didn't pay millions of dollars. I should be making billions. You know how much money one player is worth to an organization? Think about how much money Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Henry, Saquon Barkley, how much value they bring. Garrett, Garrett for the Browns, Myles Garrett. One player is astronomically important to an organization. Selling jerseys, merchandising, sponsorships, that all comes from the value that a player brings to the team. When you have no stars, you have nothing to sell. Go ask the Dolphins how they're doing right now. So, these kids are incredibly valuable from the time they're 17 years old, right? Then they go into these atmospheres, and then they're forced to do this. So, when you got a guy like Lebron, who has been forced into these situations where he didn't choose to go to Cleveland, they failed, and because they failed, they hedged their bets, and because of agreements and trusts made by other rich people, they're allowed to tell people they have to play for them, whether it's a good fit for the person or not. Right? They take advantage of these kids. They put them in situations. They know they have leverage. They know they have power. They like, you don't get to dictate anything. We drafted you. So because we drafted you, we get to tell you how and when we want to play you. We get to tell you how to play. So a lot of these kids are coming in and they're like, well, dude, I'm not getting an opportunity. Here's a bust. It's like, I'm not a bust. They didn't use me properly, and I didn't get to choose where I went. I went to a place where they drafted me at point guard. If you're Jonathan Kuminga, you're losing your mind. Why did you draft me? Oh, we draft our value. Well, you're drafting our value, but it's not valuable to you. So now you just messed up my entire career. I could be a star in this league, and I can't even get anything from it because you just don't draft me for no reason. Because you liked me and thought I was a good player and didn't want another team to have me. That's not fair. But that's the NFL and the NBA. We could just draft you. You don't choose us. We choose you. Why? Oh, because if you don't, then certain franchises would fall by the wayside because they wouldn't make any money and they never have any superstars. Isn't that what you guys pride yourself on? Fiscal survival of the fittest. So if then those franchises should fall off, and then somebody else will take them over, right? But no, we're gonna hedge our bet. We're gonna do welfare, give these people handouts, so that the same thing we do in society when we give them bailouts. We're gonna give y'all a handout. We're gonna give y'all access to $100 million commodities just to help y'all bottom line. So you're bringing in all these talented kids to bring value to a valueless franchise, and that's what LeBron did to Cleveland. Bottom of the barrel. Never was a popular franchise until LeBron got there. The amount of revenue he brought to that team yearly is insane. And you can't even do him a solid by bringing in some of the guys he wants. It's crazy. They had a deal, even in the end, they had a deal where they could have kept Kyrie, got Paul George, and Carmelo Anthony. Dan Gilbert turned that down. And you wonder why LeBron's on the Lakers right now. This is the problem that you run into when you're LeBron. Anytime they want to, he left his team, so therefore that's why he wanted a championship. Did it negate how well he played in those championships? Because LeBron didn't join the Warriors. He joined the Miami. He came with Bosh and Wade, but that extremely strapped their cab. Bosh was always hurt, so it really was just kind of LeBron and D Wade most of the time, and a bunch of minimum level players outside of maybe UD. So I would not exactly call that an all-star team, a super team. But regardless of the point I'm trying to make, is that Kenyon Martin is a smaller symptom of a larger contagion in the discourse around LeBron. Is that you get a whole lot of guys who are insane with their hatred of this guy, and I wish that I understood it. I wish I could make more sense of it. Like I said, there's such a visceral hatred for LeBron from guys that have no dog in the fight, just on the strength that they love Michael Jordan. So they hate LeBron. They love Kobe Bryant, so they hate LeBron. But you know your hatred is only there because LeBron won't go away, right? LeBron can't do this, Kobe can. LeBron doesn't. Oh, well, Kobe did it with more style. No, that's subjective. That's your opinion. You can't prove that. I don't like Kobe's game more than LeBron's. I like LeBron's way more. LeBron's game is way more exciting to Kobe than me. I don't like seeing people do drop back, fade away shots. That's great for you. That's your aesthetic, and that's what you like to watch. Good. Gorge on it. But I like to see dunks. I like to see athleticism. I like to see defense. I like to see all around play. I like to see flashy passes. That's LeBron. LeBron's always been an exciting player to watch. Kobe to me was never a high on my watch list. I never watched Kobe like that. So if that's what you like, knock yourself out. But the same way you can say A as another person can say B, and you can't use your subjective opinion to go against another person's subjective opinion, because subjective is just that. It's subjective. You feel one way, the other person might feel the other. He doesn't have to explain why he likes that more. No more than you have to explain why you like what you like. So stop trying to prove you're right by using subjective opinion. It's not going to help anything. So at the end of the day, the world is, I know in a lot of narcissistic people's mind, they think that the world revolves around their perception of it. No, it doesn't. The world revolves whether no matter how you perceive it. And there's ways, and though you may be too narrow-minded to see that other people can see things differently than you do, it does not change the fact that they do. That's why every person who steps on a basketball court thinks that their kid's the next Michael Jordan or Luka Doncic or Steph Curry. You can't. I promise you, man. No matter what sport I put my kids in, no matter what the sport is, there's always some parent that is there trying to become an assistant coach or the head coach. So, and then you say, here you go. Here's the reins. You're the head coach. I had a kid who played. My kid played. He's young, and we're just starting him in basketball. I'm talking about this coach. These are 5-year-olds, right? These, bitty basketball, kind of like where you're dribbling around, shooting. I'm sitting there on the sideline, like, watching this coach. Now, my son's been doing it 2 or 3 years, so, since he was like 4. So, he's been doing it a while, and I've seen a couple coaches. Normally what they do is they want all the kids to get their touches, so they'll be like, okay, you take the ball out, you pass it to him, and let him dribble and and play, and then we'll come back and we'll pass it to him and let him play, on and on and on, so that everybody gets their touches. This guy, his son took it out every single time, and the kid never passed. So he would pass to him, he would dribble down, and he'd just shoot it. And I'm like, okay, well, okay, it's the first time, he's gonna say something at the ball. It took about 20 times of his son dribbling down and just shooting the ball before people started to get annoyed. Like, bro, okay, you realize these are 5-year-olds. Nobody showed up because they think your kid is Steph Curry. They want to see your kid play. Mind you, he bricked every one of them, so that's even more of annoyance. But if you're sitting there and you're watching it, you're like, I don't care that he missed a shot. I don't care that he shot. He can shoot the most shots. But the dude shot every shot. And he's dribbled, and nobody else touched the ball. It's like, you realize this is development. People are putting their kids in this situation so they can learn to play basketball. How are they learning to play basketball if your son is dribbling everything up and shooting it every time? But he was so focused in on coaching his kid from the sideline that he didn't even notice that nobody else's kid was touching the ball. That's how his brain works. And you're like, and this is not just in basketball, it's always like this. Every time they'll get so focused on coaching their kid that they stop coaching everybody else's, which is why I always find it confident. Now I think it's coaches who can coach their kid and still be, and still do a good job. But I do think that you run the risk. So I never feel comfortable when it's like that. I don't hate it. I'm not gonna, besmirch a person because they coach. If that's what you want to do, then do it. If you have experience and you can coach, just because your kid is on the team, it doesn't bar you from coaching. But what I found is that when they do, a lot of these people cannot control their bias towards their kids. And when you're watching it, it's like, bro, you think your kid's going to the NBA or something? You think that this is going to help him be a better basketball player? I'm like, bro, just go. I basically wasted a full half a year because you signed it up, and you got these coaches who come out there. A lot of them are volunteers, and they come out there and will just, we're going to coach. We're going to coach, and and I'm going to use this as a session to so that my kid gets to play. It's kind of like the Julian Newman situation, where you got a guy who puts his son, who's 12 years old, on his team and has him as a starting point guard. One, let's respect the fact that they're playing in private. He played in private school. Downey Christian is a private school from kindergarten to 12, meaning they're playing other teams like that, which is very common for 5th, 6th graders to play varsity, because especially, I don't know how it is everywhere else, but here in Florida we have a lot of these Christian schools in which you get a lot of these young guys who are playing varsity at a very young age. A lot of people will go to these schools who are good football players. They'll go to school so they can get a jump on playing varsity, because it's fairly common. This happens a lot. So even when Julian Newman, but even when Julian Newman was really popular, it wasn't a big deal down here, because we understood he played for a Christian 1A Christian school. I mean, it's like the smaller schools, like they're barely above youth sports. Like they have. He probably wasn't even the only middle schooler playing varsity in that circuit. So you know what I mean. But the difference in the situation was his dad thought that he could gift wrap the NBA to him. Okay, I'm gonna train you hard, and then I'm gonna give you the ball and let you do what you want. You're not helping your kid. He's not learning to play the game. He's just dribbling and controlling the ball and not letting other people play. So now there's some senior who's not going to get his touches because you want your son to average 24. That's fine. But your son's averaging 24, and those 24s is coming at the expense of another guy who might have been a senior who might be getting more if there was a different point guard there. But they're so focused on their kid that they're not focused on the bigger picture. And I think in the long run, that's the problem you run into when you're dealing with delusional people. They see the world one way, you know what I mean? And when they see it that way, that's the way it is. And no matter how many times you tell them, like, dude, that's crazy, they continue to keep doing it. Because their brain can only see the world one way. And if you tell them that there's another way, they get angry at you for pointing it out. How dare you challenge my way of seeing the world? No, I'm not challenging the way you see the world. I'm telling you that there are people who might see it differently. That's not a challenge. That's an enlightenment. I'm just expressing to you that your opinion may not be the only opinion. And when you do that, they tend to get mad. What do you want me to do? Lie to you? Yeah, that's exactly what they want you to do. It's the same thing. Oh, I want Melo and LeBron to be a rival. Well, they're not. I'm sorry, they're not. Their careers are not comparable. Melo points out what George Carl said about him, but the truth of the matter is there was a lining of truth in it. You are just a shooter. He always was just a shooter. Melo got his points, and it's the same way when you watch his son play. The idea is, oh, look how good. No, his son inherited that mindset because his dad taught him that mindset. LeBron's kids are more focused on the entire game, while Melo's kid is focused on scoring. Unfortunately, when you're young, you get praised for that, right? So his son focuses on scoring. He's not a great defender. He's not a great passer. He's just a shooter. So when you focus purely on shooting and you do that, it's very good to look good against bad competition. So obviously, no knock on the kid. I think he's doing a good job, but do I think that kid's going to be able to average 25 in the NBA? No. Do I think he's going to get drafted? Maybe. But at the end of the day, if he's shooting, and he this idea that he's going to come in there and start tearing stuff up, I think is a pipe dream. I don't think he's going to be that great. But whether you like him or not, I think that the point is that he emphasizes scoring. And so when he scores against bad teams, all thing you see is the highlights. What you don't see is him getting blown by on defense, making bad passes, making mental errors. You don't see those things because those things are not highlights. And then you see it's him scoring 17, him scoring 19 against Hofstra. It's like, okay, well, that's great, but is he going to be able to play in the NBA? Don't know, because there's a lot of kids that can average 19 in college, even though he's not. But I'm saying there's a lot of kids that can average 19. That doesn't mean they can play in the NBA. So, anyways, the point I'm trying to say is that Kenyon Martin is smoking crack. No, there is no comparison. Melo's a legend, amazing basketball player, great career, but it's a difference. It's tiers. Melo is the tier. He's not the Jordan tier. He's not the Pippen tier. He's like who's the shooter, like a great scorer. But I would put him in the I'm trying to think of somebody I can compare him to. James Harden, Chris Paul tier, great players that were very popular and very part of the zeitgeist when they were in their prime, but they never actually won anything. Didn't get a lot of awards. At least you can say Harden was first team NBA. I mean, I think Melo was barely even first team NBA. Melo was just a scorer, and I think he'll go down in history as most of the scorers do. Great guy who could score a lot of points, but wasn't a great team player, and his team didn't really win anything. And it's a myriad of guys like that in the history of basketball. I think his connection to LeBron and D Wade helps, but I don't think in 20, 30 years people are gonna be talking about Carmelo Anthony. I just don't think so. I think he's gonna go down like a Bernard King without the championships. To me, I mean, that's great. But he's not in that D Wade LeBron tier. He's just not. Anyways, please, if you let me know what you think about the situation. Please comment, like it if you like it, and thumbs it up. All right, y'all. Peace.